What's going on, everybody? Patrick Auger, Matthew Wells, Drake Riggs here for the Body Lock. And today we're talking about the men's pound for pound list for the UFC. So, UFC 259 was one of those rare occasions where we had two pound for pound fighters clash. Jan Blachowicz beating Israel Adesanya by unanimous decision. Jan ranked at number 14 in the men's pound for pound list. Adesanya at number 3. So this is a pretty big gap. I'll start it off with you, Matt. After this weekend's events, where do we put Blachowicz and Adesanya on the pound for pound list?
Well, Blachowicz, if he's not in the top 5 or at least 6 or 7 coming this week, I don't know what the hell we're doing with pound for pound rankings at this point. I mean, this guy just beat the guy that a lot of people were pegging as, a potential triple division champion in Israel Adesanya, and he did it without getting hurt and really being in any real danger. I mean, that fight was a close fight and nobody got hurt really. I mean, if anything, Izzy's stock doesn't fall way too much because he didn't look necessarily bad in that loss. But this is definitely one of those wins that makes Jan looks really good because he's like, look, I was the champ coming into this fight. I shut down the guy that, makes people look silly. And I did it without a scar on my face. So I deserve, as the light heavyweight division's champion, even though John Jones vacated this title, I deserve to be ranked higher than people that are not champions right now. So let's see. The last person that's currently not a champion in the top, well, obviously number 2, obviously number 1 in Habib. I mean, who knows what I don't know. But at least number 7 or number 8, like Max Holloway's not a champion right now. And Max Holloway's ahead of Davison Figueiredo. Dustin Poirier is not a champion right now, although he should be. These rankings don't make sense at all, man. Drake, help me make sense of it because I don't know what's going on.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, Matt, is first of all, the rankings don't make sense, period. But then the pound for pound rankings, they're even worse. They're even worse. I really am not a big fan of pound for pound rankings because there's not a definition for them. It's all scrambled. It's a promotional tool, essentially. Connor is still ranked at 15. Like, what are we doing here? Like if we're going to just really look at this. So essentially, it really all boils down to, of course, Blachowicz should be above Adesanya now. That's really what we should be concerned about. But now it just comes down to, okay, well, where exactly do they fall? Where do they move to if you're going to have him above him? Which it is very possible, you guys, that Izzy will still be above Jan despite beating him. I'm probably leaning towards that happening. Just having seen that happen before in non-pound for pound discussion. Like I remember after what was it? It was Sarah McMahon versus somebody. I don't remember who it was she beat or lost to, whatever. But the winner stayed behind the loser. Like this is something that has happened upon updates before, and it takes them a while to fix it if they ever do. So like in pound for pound, a case where Adesanya is still champion and hasn't lost at middleweight, they could still leave him above Jan and just drop him like 2 or 3 spots and then put Jan up 5 or so, but still be behind because of how large this gap is. That'll be the most interesting thing to see happen here. But realistically, looking at what this list entails at the moment, got to put Blachowicz above Adesanya. And for me, without rearranging everybody else, just looking at it, I would probably move Adesanya right behind Jan, but I would have them. Let's see. We got Volkanovski at 6 here. So I'd probably slot in Blachowicz at 6, and then you have bump everybody else back, and Adesanya at 7, I think is probably about right.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, well, first of all, in terms of the scoring of the fight, as Matt mentioned, we did do another video on that. So make sure you check out that video to see where we all scored it and how we felt about that. But in terms of this fight, I mean, at least on paper, based on the judges' scorecards, this is a clear decision win for Jan. And I'm with Drake that you've got to put Jan above Izzy at this point because you got 2 pounds fighting, one clearly won. You gotta put him above him. So I like that positioning, Drake, a lot. I would say for me, I would go ahead and I'd put Jan at 7 probably, and Adesanya at 8. So Volkanovski and everyone else kind of bumps up. So, oh no, sorry, that would make him 6. You're right, my bad. So 6, Blachowicz is 6, Adesanya at 7, and then everyone else below him goes down. I think that's a fair kind of drop because Izzy has been dominant in all of his 185-pound wins, except for Romero. That fight was a little but still beat him. Still on paper, he beat him. So, was undefeated up until this point. Didn't look terrible. Didn't get, flash KO'd or just completely, put out by a clinic by Jan. So I think you still have Izzy up there in the pound for pound rankings. But in my opinion, yes, you do slide Jan Blachowicz above that. Let us know in the comments what you think, where you believe that Jan should be, where Izzy should be. I mean, that's 3. Israel's currently at 3. Blachowicz is number 14. Where do they end after UFC 259? Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, that bell notification button so you know when we're dropping new videos. But to cap this one off, Matt, I noticed you made a little bit of a face and you didn't say specifically where Adesanya and Blachowicz would be at the end of all this. Would you put Jan above Izzy, or are you thinking Izzy stay above him?
You put him above him. I mean, the whole point of the pound for pound ranking is to see whose skills translate regardless of division, and you had them meet at the same division and one guy won. So going by my scorecard, technically Israel Adesanya still stays above him, but that's neither here nor there. Same as Drake as well. Yep. So that's neither here nor there. But the guy that won absolutely deserves to be on top of him, no matter how close the fight was. I mean, neither guy was arguing about the outcome. So, hey, like I said, it was a close fight. 48-47, either way was fine with me. But yeah, the winner deserves to be on top. I mean, you don't get more pound for pound than having 2 guys actually fight the fight. And the results should show that in the rankings as well.
Well, there you go. Got to put Blachowicz over Adesanya. Make sure you still check out that video where we discuss in depth about why we scored the fight, the way that each of us did. And I think, gentlemen, one thing we all can agree on is that the rankings just are stupid.